We're at the UFC Performance Institute, and today we're going to be examining the submission skills of Brian Ortega, and specifically his chokes. The two phases of this examination are going to look at the high levels of technique that Brian possesses, as well as the forces that Brian can produce. So to measure this force, we've implanted a force dynamometer into the neck region of the grappling dummy. So as Brian squeezes or compresses the force dynamometer, we're going to be able to get an electronic reading of how much force he's actually producing during every stage of that technique. The first submission we're going to look at is the triangle. So Brian's nickname is obviously T-City. That's in reference to his often inescapable triangle choke.
He's going to go to a triangle. It's beautiful. He tapped.
And it's all over! Brian Ortega by submission!
This submission is called a triangle choke because of the triangle formed by your hips and legs. At one point of the triangle is the hips, the other 2 points of the triangle are the knees. As Brian sets up the triangle, he establishes control of his opponent's wrist. Once he's gained wrist control, Brian isolates his opponent's head. He then elevates the hips, connects the back of his knee against the neck, and connects his free leg to his ankle, securing the triangle. So with Brian's signature submission, the triangle, he was able to produce 425 pounds of force, which is a little bit less than the bite force of a wolf, which has been recorded at 500.
What a beautiful transition from choke to triangle. I mean, man, that was just a work of art.
The next submission we're going to look at is the guillotine. So Brian has successfully executed the guillotine in 2 of his UFC fights. One against Cub Swanson and another against Renato Moicano.
Not good. That's it. That's it.
He was able to produce 365 pounds of force during his guillotine choke. So to put this into context, New England Patriots offensive tackle Marcus Cannon is 335 pounds. So the 365 pounds that Brian produced is basically the equivalent of an offensive lineman standing on your throat.
When he gets a hold of your neck, it's over, man. He's shown that in all of his fights.
So the interesting thing about choking techniques is that actually it's not always about the maximum amount of force you can produce, it's often about the direction in which the choke is held. So all that's needed is approximately 3 to 30 pounds of pressure sustained for 7 to 10 seconds, and that'll render an opponent unconscious. So what these results demonstrate is that Brian's technique, combined with his ability to produce force, make him one of the most dangerous submission specialists in the UFC.
Brian T-City Ortega is still undefeated